Hey, welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Squeaks.
That was
That's
not
a visual joke once again for this
yeah.
podcast. I truly
If you
appreciate
didn't
this.
know, I wear my I'm gonna jack this name out Kriko headband, getting ready for BlizzCon. So I was doing some jujitsu hand moves.
So now everybody's in on the joke.
Yeah, yeah.
I I too have been getting ready for BlizzCon. That's why there's not notes. There's our website. Our website's full of articles, by the way. Check out geekfreakspodcast.com or gfpods.com. Blah 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 blah. For all the articles I write. And we are just so freaking hyped for BlizzCon. We're getting
Yeah.
ready for all that. I can't wait to meet you guys there. So first, let's go to the Geek Box. And I pulled this one out, and literally, I mean, like, how
Oh,
perfect is this?
okay.
Have you attended a comic convention?
Yeah, too many of them, I think. But nothing. I mean, it's not a comic convention. I'll just talk about overall conventions because I always find myself at the SAC anime, which I super enjoy. And
It's a good
again,
one.
I'll be able to miss the January one, unfortunately, because there's a couple signatures I need. And man, just like right out of the gate, they're just hit with heavy hitters. Once again,
Yeah.
Chris Sabat will be there, and that's the one signature I need for my Vegeta side of my two pack Funko Pop because I got
Yeah.
Goku. Oh, that's killing me. But awesome fact that I don't know if you know too much of Naruto, but Naruto Sasuke, the voice actor, is going to be there, which is actually the same voice actor as Peter Parker in the Spider-Man series for the PlayStation. And
Oh, okay. I
having
know. That's who I know. Yeah. I don't know him
okay,
as the,
so
yeah.
having to like having known that now, the Sasuke voice really comes out when he's Black Suit Spider-Man. So if you go
That's
back, just
cool.
go on YouTube or something like that, listen to Sasuke's
Yeah.
voice or whatever, and then now it's like okay, like I legit feel like I'm seeing Spider-Man, but I'm listening to Naruto right now.
And he's married. I don't know if you know this or not. I'm sure you do. He's actually married to the Yuri actor, too. So they're actually husband and wife.
Oh,
Yeah. So any scene where it's
oh,
like him and Yuri going back and forth, I'm like,
dang. Okay, I'll have to look that
yeah,
up. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
He's
Um,
dope, man. Oh, I gotta now. I really. Why did they do a convention like January 3rd? That's such a tough time to be able to get out to a convention, in my opinion.
Man, yeah, especially just working on, and that too. I have birthdays, so it's my birthday and both my daughter's birthdays, and
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
nailed it.
maybe like I just don't show up for this birthday, you know? Yeah,
I mean, they have others. I mean,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
whole point. They keep happening.
exactly, exactly. So, Frank, have you ever been to one?
You know, I have. I've been to a few of them, but my two favorites. I mean, like again, I'll go with non-comic book. Of course, BlizzCon's number
Yeah,
one.
of course.
Uh, my number two, because it was my first convention, is a Star Trek convention. Because
Okay, okay.
man, it's a favorite pitch in that room. People are
Hmm.
just so, and you literally get to meet people that you freaking love on TV.
Yeah.
And meeting Jonathan Frakes was one of the coolest things ever. I've probably talked about it on the podcast 4 times, but meeting him and it's a whole line of next generation actors and saying, I loved you in Gargoyles as Xanatos. And then
Mm,
all the generation
mm.
actors are like, oh my God, I love Gargoyles, blah, 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 because they were all on Gargoyles as well. And it was like, yes, it's
Yeah,
such a cool
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, conventions are dope.
What's the feel when you like meet your first, I guess you could say, famous person, right? Like when you're standing in line, right? And
It
you're just
depends on
like,
the famous person, right? Because when I met Will Shatner, I was I don't know if I was disappointed, but yeah, he's an old man. Like
yeah.
he's kind of a pain in the butt, as expected. So it wore me out a little bit on him.
Hmm.
But then when I met I can't remember her name for the life of me, and I feel bad about that, but she's the wife of Worf in Star Trek, but she's also the
Okay.
mom of Marshall from How I Met Your Mother, which is how I remember her. And when I met her and I had her sign actually How I Met Your Mother merch, she was delightful and just
Yeah.
such a nice
Yeah.
person and stuff like that. That makes it so much better, right? And then,
Yeah.
like I was saying with like Jonathan Frakes, super cool. William Shatner, I have this like Pez thing with like all these different actors on it, and I wanted each of them to sign their own spot.
Mm.
And of course, Shatner being Shatner, signed hella big on it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you pain in the ass. Obviously, I wanted all of you guys to sign it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it's just, but then you meet Data, you meet all these pretty really cool
Yeah.
people, and it's just awesome. It's just fun.
Yeah, no, it's also. I mean, it's an awesome experience, and a nervous wracking at the same time, right? So,
Yeah.
and I asked that because I had these feels when I met, I'm probably bridging his first name wrong, but Cray Payton from Walking Dead, Ezekiel.
Right.
But in the line, I'm seeing him like, oh my god, this is freaking crazy, right? I've spent how many of my years, right, watching Walking Dead, and now I get to
Right.
see it in person. But as I'm going through the line, he seems to be having these awesome experiences with everyone. And I remember when I got with him, it's like, okay, I'm paying for the picture, I'm paying for the autograph, whatever. That he was just like, yeah, man, take your camera out. He was shouting things, being funny. He was really animated with that experience, and that was pretty awesome. I haven't really had anyone like what you're saying, like William Shatner, kind of whatever.
Hmm.
But I also haven't had an awesome experience as meeting Mr. Payton. So usually
Yep.
they're just kind of go. I mean, they're long lines, right? So they kind of just have
Yeah.
kind of short sometimes. But yeah.
I think Shatner was the only paid autograph I've ever done too. So it was very
Oh shit!
transactional.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Because at these conventions, like it is, I mean, it is just bombarded with celebrities that you love.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of them are free. You just have to wait in line or whatever.
Oh.
And
Okay.
like I was saying with Jonathan Frakes, the whole next gen cast was free.
Mhm.
Um, but Shatner, you had to pay $80 to get a signature. It was pretty pricey.
See, that's what I'm used to. So I'm like, when you say like you didn't have to pay for much except for his, that's wild to me.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, it's if you guys honestly, it's ridiculous how accurate it is, but Galaxy Quest nails it 100%. If you ever want to know
Mm.
what a Star Trek convention is, it's Galaxy Quest, and in all the right ways, So check that movie out, guys, because that really
Yeah,
nailed it,
shoot.
in my
That's the
opinion.
Tim Allen one, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Oh man, what a good movie.
yeah, it is. All right, we're gonna talk more about BlizzCon at the end and kind of what we're planning on, what we're expecting, stuff like that. So we'll get more convention talk in at that
Mhm.
point. Let's go ahead and get through some of the news, and we got some short things here. The Amazon Fallout series is going to be premiering only in April 12th, which I think is pretty soon. Again, this is going to be the Fallout series. It's going to be taking place in Los Angeles. And I think Fallout's going to just do really well on TV. I think it's kind of destined for TV, really. What do you
I
think about
think
that?
so. Yeah, I agree. With this whole single player storyline and all these communications with the side quests and main quests with characters, I think it really will shine in a TV series.
Hmm.
I can't wait to actually just see. Which we kind of got this from a TV series already. I think it was Hello Tomorrow, something like that with Apple. I know I mentioned it before of this whole like futuristic 50s feel, which I freaking love. So it'd be
Yeah.
awesome to maybe. Do you think they're going to stretch that for a long period of time? We're going to see like the salespeople selling you bunkers, and are we going to live that life? And then at the end of the season, we're going to see it implode, or do you think it
That's an
really needs to?
interesting idea. I don't think
Yeah,
they would just because it's not very Fallout-y,
so,
but I do like
yeah,
that idea. It's pretty neat.
because
Yeah.
then I think I can see the criticism in that, where it's like, well, we didn't really get what Fallout really is, but I mean, how long is a story, and that is a huge, I mean, beginning to a Fallout series. So kind of interested. Yeah, I'm really
Like the games, I'm
excited for
hoping what
it.
I would want is every season is a new city. I think that would be a lot funner.
Oh, okay, okay.
Let's get new actors, new story, new city. Because that's part of the fun of the video games is like,
Hmm.
oh, Boston, everything's about, Harvard or whatnot.
Yeah.
And this being a Los Angeles, I think there's a lot of things that they could pull from what'll be neat. I'm already expecting that Hollywood sign to be half destroyed.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so that will be, I think that's gonna be fun, but I don't want them to overstretch it. Like if they're trying to
Hmm.
do The Last of Us, like The Last of Us is really good, but we all know that really you only have like one or two more seasons in that story. So don't ruin it by trying to make
Yeah.
up story that's not going to be good.
And I think they confirmed like two more seasons for Last of Us 2, which I can see. I can see because you got two huge characters that you're playing two different storylines for.
Right.
Um, but I think like what was Lord of the Rings? Was it an 8 or 10 episode series? I mean, obviously this
Oh,
is
good
the question
question.
I'm asking
Yeah.
right on top of my head,
Same
right?
production
So
studio though, so it's a really good question actually.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So if we're getting, let's just say 8, right? Whatever.
Mhm.
What are we thinking? Like 3 or 4 episodes going to be kind of like the build up and then destroy it and then see what happens from there? Because then you have a lot of like waking up in the chamber type deal too. So how long
I
is that going to be
I
wasted?
kind
Is that
of
going to be one
think
episode?
if they've wanted to make it feel like the video games, yeah, make it to where immediately you wake up in the chamber, you wake up in a bomb shelter alone, you
Hmm.
find your way out, and through that we're getting context clues of what this world is like.
Hmm.
And for those who are non Fallout players, the idea of like the 50s just kept going is going to be very odd to them.
Yeah.
And I can't wait
Yeah.
for them to learn about like the aesthetics of those games is where it shines, I think, in my
Hmm.
opinion. That idea that like the 50s and nuclear power and all that stuff was super embraced, and we all have like the little was it Pep Boy or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna be such a blast. But yeah, I think we're gonna launch right into that series and just go right into the post-apocalyptic because that's the part that is so catchy right now in
Hmm.
social media and TV with
Yeah.
Walking Dead and The Last of Us.
Yeah, it'd be neat to see as a straight up like a shocker with the first episode, do the
Yeah,
whole like 50s feel, get that lifestyle, get the some of the little what do you call it, Easter eggs from all the games of
very
when
cool.
you're in that first, like the robots floating, and then talk about the salesperson people, and then
Yeah.
just straight up at the end of the episode one, just bomb it, you know?
That would be smart. Yeah, like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you if you're paying attention, maybe you're noticing that they're talking about it on the news a little bit in the background, or like, oh, check out the new Fallout shelters, that blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah, type of thing
Yeah.
like that. Like they do those cheesy ads all the time in there,
Hmm.
and then at the end, you're just like, bombs are dropping, get
Yeah.
going. Like that
Yeah.
would be
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, I think if it's obviously like you said, the same production company, right? I think we're gonna see
Yeah.
great visuals when it comes to some of these like mutant looking like monster type humans. Being that
Mhm.
the orcs looked fabulous, and I believe in I think in Lord of the Rings. So
Crazy enough, I think they actually look a little bit better than the Lord of the Rings movies, which is saying something, especially than Hobbit, I would say.
Hobbit for sure. You think it looks? Yeah, right. It's new day. Yeah,
I mean,
modern
the
day type.
Uruk-hai are something different. Like the Uruk-hai are
Hmm.
their choice, but I would say that I think the Ring of Power ones look a little better.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
yeah, I guess right. It's modern day, advancements and stuff like that when it comes to these cosmetics. So it can only get better for the first one. Obviously, it's way better than the Hobbit one. So no,
yeah, everything's better
go
than the
there.
Hobbit ones, sadly enough. You and me both read that book. We're like, oh, this is great. What a short story. It's like, oh, we're gonna make 3 movies out of it. What the
Yeah,
hell?
like, damn.
There's not 3 movies here.
Yeah. That's shit.
Same studio again with the Amazon Prime's production. It's gonna be Good Omens. Got renewed for season 3. They're gonna be changing their series showrunner, but the story, what I like, is gonna be based off of a planned book that Neil Gaiman never got to. So he's like, hey, I
Mhm.
plan on making a sequel to Good Omens. I've halfway written it. It's not done. I never finished it. And so he's using that to make the script for this. So I love how we're actually getting real
Nice.
stories from Neil Gaiman, because
Nice.
that dude is a boss. Doctor Who, the 60th anniversary. By the way, have you ever watched Doctor Who?
I have not. I tried once, and I got like maybe 2 episodes in, and then I just stopped. Not saying that it was bad or I didn't like it or anything. Just there's a lot of TV out there right now. So
Yeah. And it's
yeah.
daunting looking. Like, where do you jump in at? What do you do? It's
Yeah,
so
right.
much.
And it's
It's
almost
perfect.
tempting because like Magic always pulls me in to buy cards. They did a Doctor Who expansion
Yeah.
run for Magic. I'm like, fuck, man, is this something I need to get into? Someone could tell me, I guess, and where to start. Do I need to start all the way at number one, or can I start a different season with a different, cast or a different Doctor Who? I think, is there multiple Doctor Who's, or am I wrong? I don't know anything about this
Yeah,
kind of thing.
there's a ton of them actually. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And so they're doing the 60th anniversary and they're bringing back David Tennant, which is a lot of people's favorite Doctor Who. And from what I've been doing my research, he's actually the one you should be jumping in on, because he's like
Mm,
so good that people are like, yeah, if you're going to start into it, that they kind of like did a little reboot in that area or whatever. And he's really good at jumping on.
mm,
The
okay.
60th anniversary is coming November 25th, and it's going to be bringing back fan favorite Donna. And in the series, from what I understand, he erased her memories, and suddenly he has his old face back. Of course, he's being played by David Tennant during the special, and they have a new Doctor Who coming up very soon. But this is just a 60th anniversary special thing they're doing, and she got her memories back. So all of a sudden, he's trying to figure out what's going on and changing the universe and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I think they're doing this huge 14-hour watch party. Yeah, hashtag Dr. Donathon. Um, again, where do you jump in this world is my big thing. It's so cool, but it's just so much to get into.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you play the magic cards that you got?
No, so the last expansion I played was oh my gosh, what's it called? Wilds of Eldarin, I think. I could be jacking
Okay.
this up too. Which is what I really liked about it was like fairy tale kind of like creatures coming to life. I remember
Oh, I think
in
you were
one
telling me about that.
card,
Yeah.
yeah, one card it was a gingerbread man riding a horse. Fucking loved it, right?
Yeah.
But then like shortly after they come out with these expansions, like bang, 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 bang. Like already we got an advertisement for Marvel now coming to Magic the Gathering.
Just that's next up. Yeah.
And I'm like shit, I don't even play as much anymore, but I have to buy these Marvel cards. So like, and to see the art on them, because I see the art on Lord of the Rings and it looked fabulous.
Oh
And I
yeah.
liked how they did their take on other characters, like they don't look exactly like the movies and whatnot. So I'm definitely interested in seeing what these Marvel ones will be. So
So yeah, we have the Marvel ones. We also have Fallout, Magic the Gathering combos
oh,
coming up
that's
too.
right, the Fallout one. Holy,
Yeah.
this fucking this
Do you
game.
think do you think MTG is just doing too much? Like I think at this point it's you guys are diluting Magic the Gathering lore because you're bringing in so much other things.
I think Magic is doing a little too much. Because reading the comics and whatnot, it always traces back to each expansions, which is sweet, but it feels like the expansions of the Magic world, like worlds they make up. But it is not long for them. They keep it fresh, and then they always do their whole ban list and whatever. But it's a little so fast that once I learn an expansion and like really build the deck around it, and I'm enjoying this one, that you already got word of the next one. Like we know Marvel's coming out, and I haven't seen any boxes for Fallout yet. Like I've just seen Doctor Who's everywhere. So it's like, oh my goodness, like, can we slow down and enjoy the game for a little bit?
Yeah.
But maybe,
and then even with like the Lord of the Rings ones, they brought more Lord of the Rings ones out because of the popularity of that one. Yeah. And it's like, hold on, we're on the next chapter now. Like, why? It's just too much to even try to keep up with.
But maybe that's a us thing, right? Maybe that's just more of the casual player. Like I would love to talk to somebody at the comic store because I'm trying to get into this One Piece game and I want to actually like go to the comic book store and actually play people and learn. But maybe I need to talk to like a intense Magic player and see like what's their thoughts on it. That's what I have to do. I have to come back and
hit us up on social media, guys. Yeah, if you actually are like competitively playing and stuff like that, what are you guys doing with all these decks coming up? Because I mean, it just seems like it's a deluge of it. I couldn't even keep up with it. Fiscally, I couldn't keep up with it. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you guys played Magic the Gathering like us for a long time, you know that in the early days it was real simple. Like, oh, this does 5 damage, tap it, blah 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 blah. Now they're like a paragraph for each card, and they'll have some elaborate tricks that they pull. Yeah. And so if you have Doctor Who versus Aragon, how the hell are you supposed to play that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And my fear is, and hopefully they don't, is that we're going too far to what Yu-Gi-Oh has turned into be. Yu-Gi-Oh, which I really enjoy because it's really fast paced. I'm like, okay, I do this, it triggers all this. When Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day was like, here's my one card, it's in defense or attack your turn kind of thing. And there's no way it's going back. I mean, obviously with the success Yu-Gi-Oh is having, there's no way. Even if they even thought about like, hey, maybe we've done too much, you can't. There's too much of a following here. So hopefully Magic doesn't turn that way. I've used to play often with a coworker with all the card games really, but Magic for sure. And he's now being able to summon all these like 1/1 pests to where it's like 10 on the field. And I'm like, dude, what the shit, man? What am I supposed to do? I got one flying creature, bro. Like, so no, it sucks. I've mastered the Kamigawa expansion, which is my deck is like a lot of shinobis and like jujitsu, where it's a lot of like disappearing and putting other cards out there. So it's like once I master it, you're like, damn, we're already like 5-6 expansions ago now. It's like, damn, man, I just did put in all this work for it and money. So
like everything else, and something we're about to mention later on, I would totally be on board with an entirely new deck with a different border color that's Magic the Gathering Classic, and just release old cards and cards that fit only in with the old cards. Like basically separate them out to where it's a little bit more simpler, if we want to go with that term. But something that's a little bit more straightforward. It's only the Magic the Gathering lore. It only works with Magic the Gathering lore. I think that would be so much better. I think.
Because they still release like Magic 22, 23 like years, and it's like just the Magic ones itself.
Right.
But I mean, when you're coming out with like Lord of the Rings expansions and Marvel and Doctor Who, you're like, I mean, I kind of want to experience that now. So,
and of course, we're all trying to play more Lorcana, but it's just
man,
harder than gold to find.
I went to so they have a drop coming out soon. I went to my comic book store and they have a case they're trying to put out for Lorcana. So they'll buy Lorcana cards and they'll put them out there, obviously to resell, and it's just so empty. And it's like, I mean, it's brand new, it's hard to grab still, and hopefully it won't be next month.
I've got a deck purchased through Sammy, so I got to go down to his town and pick it up. But yeah, Sammy got me a deck.
Once you pick it up, I'm ready to play, man. Ready to play.
Maybe I could grab it before BlizzCon. That way we could play like in the hotel room.
That's true. I'm down for it. I'll bring it.
Okay. Gotta go to now. I gotta drive all the way down to Lodi.
Maybe I could. I'll talk to Sammy, see if I can get it somehow.
Well, if you're gonna be in the area, let me know. Then I'll Venmo.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do.
Freaking Venmo makes my life so much easier. All right, let's move on to the next thing here. We have Dario Scardapane, great name, dude, is a new showrunner for Marvel's Daredevil reboot. We talked about this in the past, and I can't think of a better candidate for this guy, for this role. So they lost their showrunner because they're like, oh, this is looking like trash. We halfway made our stuff, blah, blah, blah. Marvel is redoing how they make TV shows. This showrunner, here's the two shows that he made before. Jack Ryan, the new Jack Ryan series, solid. I think this is a good fit. Better fit. He's the one that made the Punisher series for Netflix.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So I think this means that the new Daredevil series is going to be this darker tone. The She-Hulk thing worried me because in She-Hulk he was a little bit clownish, but I think we're going to get that darker tone. We're going to get that dirty streets of Hell's Kitchen. This is the Daredevil I wanted, and I think Marvel's stepping up to it. Sounds like it.
Nice.
What is there any particular Daredevil story that you want to make sure to see on screen?
Not anyone particular. I mean, there's a lot of like cameos that I would like to see. My God, can we actually? I mean, it'll never happen, but I would freaking fantasize about a Spider-Man Daredevil team up, right?
That's right there.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm thinking
like,
too.
Gosh, but
those two together is so dope.
So I'm kind of a casual fan of the She-Hulk series. I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, but it was
to an extent
casual.
for what
I just
it was.
didn't like Daredevil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, not everyone has to be some fucking comedic idiot, right? So, I like how we're actually okay. Let's step back. Let's look at how these what made these characters popular in the comic book series, right? And then and bring that to life and not try to switch something to fit whatever plot they're trying to create. I don't know, shit. You know, too friendly. Not everything has to be so friendly. You know.
I think what would be a really smart move is they're thinking about bringing an X-Men pretty soon. This is a good time to introduce a very side X-Men, and it could be. I mean, it could be as minuscule in my opinion as Jubilee. I know Jubilee's been getting a big rework lately in the comics. Personally, I think because he came from the streets, he was with a group of thieves. Gambit. I think Gambit and Daredevil together is a hell of a duo.
Oh, that'd be sexy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Gambit's pretty raw too, though. So it'd be neat to. Oh man, you think Channing Tatum would actually show up for this?
No, and I don't want Channing Tatum. Like, if I'm honest with you, no. Like, let's bring him in for Secret Wars so we can see, like, oh hey, yeah, he's the guy that's like casting to like the Flash, Nicolas Cage thing, and then let's just kill him off. Okay. I want somebody not too famous. Like, Charlie Cox is Daredevil now, and I can't think of anybody else to play Daredevil. He does such a good job with it. He freaking loves doing it. That's what I want. I don't want a big celebrity playing the role, and then all of a sudden we have to worry about them signing up again, like we got with Hemsworth and or whatever the hell his name was.
True.
Norton, that's what it was, and Hulk. No, I want somebody who's going to be there for the long haul.
Yeah, and I guess you don't want to take away from, like, I guess the main focus in the Daredevil series, right? So if you bring a Channing Tatum in, obviously he's going to get the press on him. So
yeah, and it'd be better, like, in my opinion, that way you're building things up, and then when the X-Men come out and Gambit's a part of it, because he better be, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's right, he's the one from the Daredevil series, and they're probably going to bring in, Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, whatever at that time, so that you kind of like are putting together, you're assembling this team as well for the X-Men and some familiar faces. I think would be a smart move. So
we taking away Hugh Jackman as Wolverine? It's going to be his last Wolverine show, or what? What do you think? Especially with the yellow outfit on.
I think it's going to be the last one. So the rumors are that Secret Wars, for those who aren't familiar, Secret War is much like Infinite Crisis for DC. It takes the multiverse of timelines, or multiverse or timelines. MCU is so freaking confusing with that right now, and it puts them into one. And what's really great about that is it makes it to where they've always existed. The best case scenario is what happened with Miles Morales. Miles Morales was the second comic book. After Secret Wars, boom, Miles Morales has always existed in the regular Marvel universe. So that's what's going to happen here. And what I've been hearing rumors is we're going to have this kind of like quasi-multiversal Avengers team that will step up and help out in the Secret Wars alongside our regular Avengers. And they'll be led by Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And we're going to have like Storm on there. All these, like, we're going to have the Thing from the old Fantastic Four movie. All these defunct Marvel projects basically are going to be streamlined into one group that sacrifice themselves at the end to defeat Kang and save the universe and have their universes merge into one.
I think with Marvel, I think that's much needed right now. I think there's just too many characters out floating everywhere in the MCU. So let's just narrow it down, and here's your core characters again. You gotta try to pull us back in, like when you pulled us with the Avengers. So find a way.
And Kevin Feige even said, like, he's wanting to use Secret Wars, which is what it is in the comic books too. He wants to use it as sort of a soft reboot, so that if you really want to bring in an Iron Man, you can, because now you have multiple Iron Man options all of a sudden and stuff like that, and they're all in this one universe. And I think up for a lot of the like really casual Marvel fans, the idea of this multiverse saga has been pretty confusing for them. When you just had the big purple guy you had to fight at the end, like that was simple enough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think this is going to be good for us to get back into one storyline. Then after that, maybe go Galactus, go something like that,
Ooh,
something that we all know. I know he's
yeah.
kind of the big,
Talk dirty
he's
to
like
me.
the big piece on the chessboard we haven't been touching, and it's like
Yeah.
he's coming up. Yeah, I like Annihilation too. Annihilation, where it's like another galaxies invading our galaxy. It's a really good storyline. I think they should go with that next, personally.
Nice.
But
Nice.
Doctor Doom, something. Okay. We have a new Highlander movie on the way. This is going to be a reboot. And what's cool is they're bringing in Henry Cavill to be our main character. And they're talking about like, this is going to be a new franchise. They want to do multiple Highlander movies. And I'm so happy for Henry Cavill because he got, let's be honest with it, he got the shaft on Superman.
Yeah.
And they changed him out on The Witcher, which is so baloney. So I'm happy that he's going to be in the new 40K series. And now he's going to be in this. And have you watched the old Highlander movie or anything from Highlander before?
No, not at all. Never
Are you
even
familiar
heard
with
of.
it?
Never even heard of Highlander.
Okay, you're too young. I see. I see
Yeah,
what
I
it is.
guess that's what it is.
Back in the
Shoot.
80s, because I'm ancient. Highlander's this really cool story where like there's these immortal guys. Here's the quick premise: a few immortal like warriors. They hunt each other down, and every time you kill one, you get stronger. And so it's all about like hunting down and killing all the other like Highlander like guys, these immortals. And like there's the Spaniard who's played by Samuel Jackson, Sean Connery, who's a dope badass. And so it's these medieval guys that are fighting throughout the ages. So it's modern day
That's
New
what I was
York
going to ask you. I did a
with a
little
bunch of dudes
research.
with
Okay.
swords.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there
And so
time
Henry
jumping
Cavill's
into
gonna be
this, or what is it?
it's not
Yeah.
so much time jumping, it's through time. There is some time jumping now I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
But
yeah. Like, are they like jumping to defeat like certain warriors, or are they just in? Oh, you said immortal, right? So they're living forever. Okay. Okay.
mhm.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like it gets to like basically Highlander himself is very much like Northern Scottish. He's like, Braveheart,
Braveheart.
but
Yeah.
modern day and having to like finish off every contender that comes to him, trying to take him out so that they can become the strongest person. And it's just so dope. And it's very much like leaning in on the UK background of Henry Cavill, unlike the other things where maybe they were trying to like, oh, you have to be an American now because you're a Superman. No, this is him going to be able to, because he's from a show called Tudors. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Tudors before, but he is super British in that series.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, this is actually where he's from. This is going to be him returning back to that. I know Scottish is in UK, is a little bit of a different accent there, but as an American, I'm like, oh yeah, same area,
Yeah. Shoot.
That's what I was watching somebody, one of these Disneyland people that do all the bookings and stuff like that. And the UK people were like, oh, we want to be able to visit Disney World, and then we're going to drive over to Disneyland,
Yeah.
and then we're going to go up to New York. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, like all of UK fits in California. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a whole different country over here, folks.
That's funny.
But I promise you're going to be excited about that. It's a brand new fantasy series, and it has
Okay.
the backing of some really good people. It's
Yeah, anything with Henry Cavill, to be honest. I'm in.
Yes, for sure.
So
Let's talk about Mr. Omni-Man, which we're only 1 week away from Invincible returning.
Daddy.
Pretty dope. We have a release date for him joining MK1, and it's going to be November 6th. I'm assuming you're playing this, correct?
Oh yeah, I've already when the leak came out with all these characters, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to switch away from Raiden because I always main Raiden first, and then okay, whatever. So I do Reptile. Okay, I did Reptile this go around just to do something different. But I already knew don't fall in love with someone, because when Omni-Man comes out, I'm spending all my time with him. And some of these fatalities are awesome. I don't know if you've seen any, but how they
I sure did.
yeah, how they reference the whatever he's done in the series, especially that subway scene, just getting hit by people.
Oh man,
I was like, man, I feel bad for the civilians. They didn't do shit. But
even the angle when he's like punching down on somebody, which is what he did to his son in the final episode. I was like, man, the angle is gruesome. Turned your stomach a little bit. So good.
Yeah. Oh man, it turned my stomach and making me excited at the same time. So yeah. But yeah, man. And then we got the actual voice actor on this too, right? I believe is what I
J.K.
heard.
Simmons.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson is back.
Yeah. So I'm definitely maining him. It's hard because you have Homelander right there too, and I'm curious of how you gotta make him different, right? because they seem very similar characters, right? And coming out in the same patch in the same video game. So I'm curious to see what Homelander will become after Omni-Man releases.
All I care about is just seeing those two fight, man. Homelander versus
Mm.
Omni-Man. It seems like, I mean, like let's just throw Superman in at some point. Like that just
Yeah.
sounds so freaking cool. Because Superman has been made by this team, so that would be neat. With the Injustice version of Superman, how cool would that be if he like shows
Oh
up as
yeah.
one of these?
Oh yeah. Dang. It could be a cameo. I mean, that's a new thing now
Yeah.
with Mortal Kombat. So yes.
Yeah. So I mean, it's hard for me to pass this game up. I have not bought any of the fighting games that came out this year, but
Hmm.
they are really making MK pretty hard to pass up.
Oh yeah. Such a great game. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The last bit of news before we get into some discussion stuff here. Fortnite is doing something huge. This was kind of hinted at. People have been like, hey, wait a minute. What is all this like old school stuff we're starting to see on the map? They are bringing in Chapter 1 once again.
Mm,
So, Fortnite Chapter 1 starting this month on November 3rd. And it's literally the old map. It's the old weapons. It's the old game mode.
nice.
But there are some changes that they made over the time where like there's like no build mode, for example. That map does not do well with no build mode because there's like wide open fields
But
and
yeah,
not like
yeah.
in the new game where there's so much stuff to guide from. But yeah, this is going to be big. I think I'm actually going to be coming back to play this one because I haven't played Fortnite in a bit, and I'm like, ooh, Chapter 1, those old guns are pretty badass.
Better send me the invite then. Okay. I know
Okay.
Daniel's talking massive shit when I'm playing Call of Duty with him. Because he's like, oh, you just want to spend time playing Fortnite. Bitch, I haven't played Fortnite in a while. But
Well, so does most gamers. If
throw
we're
me
looking
an
at the
invite.
numbers, most of them play Fortnite over Call of Duty. So know your role.
It's those licenses though, right? I mean, shit, I play in Call of Duty because of Spawn came out. So,
Yeah, of course.
with literally Fortnite getting a license to freaking everything we could think of,
Yeah,
that's what's pulling me in. So,
yeah.
like
One
they
thing I
got
really
Jack
love.
Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. He's gonna be a
Yeah,
character there. And I'm like, hold on, how the fuck does Jack Skellington carry an AK, right? Just
I
shooting
know.
at everybody. Like, what is this? I think this is like the first Disney character. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not a crazy into Fortnite, but I can't think of another Disney only. I'm not talking about Marvel or Star Wars, but Disney
Okay, yeah, because
character
I'm
in
like all this.
Fortnite.
I know
Yeah.
like the Mandalorian, and all that's in there. Boba
Yeah,
Fett. I
yeah,
have.
not that. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's impressive. I tell you. So one thing that is going to be a little bit tricky. Where's it at? God damn it! I have it. This is why I had like the notes. So I have it all put together. I lost it. Son of a bitch. I had it just here. Whatever. We'll skip it. But yeah, I can't wait to get back into this. Right now, I've also downloaded Overwatch again on everything because, of course, BlizzCon mode.
I'm
But
ready. I've been playing Overwatch like crazy right now.
have you really been?
Oh
Who are you
man.
maining right now?
Uh Great car. That's
Yeah,
my
that makes sense.
that's my main on when I'm healing for sure. But I do the all because I'm so versatile, right? In
Mhm.
Overwatch. But that's why I enjoy playing. I mean I'm a super lover. But yeah, I mean I've been because I didn't realize until Daniel was telling me that our BlizzCon tickets came with the game pass or battle pass for it. So I've been just trying to run through that because I'm almost got the God, I'm forgetting names, right? It's been so long since I really played. I have not touched Overwatch 2 since release. So
Yeah.
it's because of my feelings towards it. So now we're in BlizzCon mode and I was playing with somebody recently and it really got me back into it. But the is it what's the gerbil's name? Starts with
Oh,
R, I believe.
Wrecking Ball or something like that.
Wrecking Ball, Wrecking Ball. Yeah, so I'm almost at his Asmodan skin. So I was like, I have to get this
Oh
right now.
wow.
So
He is
which is I think it's
such an
just like
annoying
level
character
20.
to play against
Oh,
when you're trying to
he is
defend an area.
most definitely. Oh my gosh, but his skin for Asmodan is so sexy as hell, and I'm about to get
Yeah.
that here shortly after this podcast. So
I need to jump in for the Halloween skins too. I forgot about that. And
yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
big Orisa main, but they really, in my opinion, nerfed Orisa quite a bit.
yeah.
So it's tough. And
I do
when they
use
did
her
that, I was like,
often though, so she's
"Do
not
you really?"
horrible. I use her often in certain maps depending what the objective is, but it was super different for sure. Like you can't just lay that shield down. Now you actively
Yeah,
have to do this like blocking move that only lasts a couple seconds. So
not nearly as
changes.
fun. It's not her
Oh yeah,
cornerstone move, you know.
yeah, yeah,
That's a shame.
yeah.
But yeah, all right. The last thing I want to make sure that we're going to discuss before we get to BlizzCon talk is the return of the Ultimate Universe. Do you remember reading any Ultimate Marvel comic books back in the day? From 2000 to 2015, they had this universe.
Oh man. I'll say no.
Okay.
I'll have to like you have to give me something to see if I can remember what I read back then. I don't
Well,
remember what.
most notably,
Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man was kind of the biggie, right? A lot of people were just
Okay.
reading Ultimate
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Okay.
And the idea of the Ultimate Universe was always to be this contemporary version of Marvel. something that was a lot more modern, where like, yeah, everybody had smartphones, and the stories were a lot more relevant to today, and it was a good
They're
jumping in place for
basically,
brand new fans.
yeah, they're basically like Rebirth, right? Because I know Ultimate
It's like,
Spider-Man was like almost a
yeah,
recapture of, I don't want to say the first comic book ever done, image-wise, the cover, but it was just him by himself swinging with the
right.
classic, almost classic uniform on. So were all
Right,
these
but
like
the
rebirths in a
world
way?
was modern, like in like kind of like when
Yeah,
you're playing the video game. It's not that you're listening to J. Jonah Jameson in a newspaper. He's got a podcast out, kind of thing
yeah,
like that.
yes, okay, okay.
So the ultimate universe is a side universe. It's a universe that runs parallel to the regular 616. Matter of fact, I think it's called 6160. And um, eventually, with Secret Wars, it got merged in. That's why we got Miles Morales is from the Ultimate Universe. And
Mm.
lucky for us, Marvel is bringing it back in 2024, starting actually this week, is why I want to make sure to mention it now. And
In
the
comic
Ultimate
book form?
Universe in comic book form.
Okay,
Yeah, on
okay.
Wednesday we have the first Ultimate Universe coming out, and it's
Mm.
got right on the cover right away. It's Thor teaming up with a new Iron Man, Doctor Doom. It's just like this entirely new team, and it's kind of a quasi Avengers. It's like they don't name themselves the Avengers yet. You're getting the whole universe together. Um,
Mm. Okay.
Along with that, we're getting the Ultimate Universe version of Spider-Man back, a new Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm.
In this one, he's married to Mary Jane and he has 2 kids.
Okay, okay.
So it's kind of like that. It reminds me of that
Gotta deal with the
Peter B.
kids.
Parker. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And he's a little bit older. He's got a beard, not like a old man beard, but a
Yeah,
beard.
yeah.
We're also getting an ultimate version of Black Panther that's coming out in 2024. And this version of Black Panther is basically at war with Moon Knight and his gods. So,
Oh, that sounds actually pretty
yes.
neat.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't think about that. I'm like, oh, that's tight. But they're basically fighting over control of the protector of Africa. And the Moon Knight side is it's the gods doing it and they're assholes. like what's his name?
Okay.
Khonshu and the other one, they're jerks. So it's definitely
Okay.
rooting for Black Panther, and it looks so cool. And it's much more like, again, all their suits are much more modernized, right? So when you see Peter Parker, it's a lot more of a haircut you would expect from today, kind of a, I don't know, more modern
Yeah.
haircut, the old one.
Yeah.
Black Panther, his suit actually looks chunkier, like it's actually got metallic stuff attached to it,
Mm.
not just something that's
Like
a
a
regular.
latex or something. Yeah.
Yes, and even like the Iron Man suit's actually got some chrome on it. It actually looks like it's more realistic.
Mm.
And then we have a new X-Men coming out too, but that's gonna be the last one that's releasing of the new storyline. Uh,
Okay. Interesting.
what would you want to see, like more modernized version of Peter Parker? I think we get a lot of it with the games. It helps a lot.
Give me that babe MJ back. You know what I'm saying? I don't want grandma sweater MJ from this series, the video game series. But no, I'm just kidding. Okay. Let's see. So in the Spider-Man universe, a modernized
Yeah,
version.
we'll go with that one because that's kind of the one that's
Okay.
making the splash.
Okay.
Finding out that because there was the One More Day storyline that they came out with a while back where he had to make a deal with Mephisto to save Aunt May, and in doing so, Mephisto wanted his marriage, and boy, people hated that. And it's just a stupid storyline, honestly.
Yeah.
So this is our chance to see them married again.
So it's something totally different now. So are we talking like the facts of maybe like we don't have a backstory of Uncle Ben dying?
It would, yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe we get a backstory of
Yeah.
Uncle Ben dying. Maybe it's something that's a little bit more modern. Maybe he died
Yeah.
in something that makes sense.
I mean, because being just a huge Venom fan, I think I would like to see a different take on Venom, right?
Yeah.
We now when the Spider-Man series came back, obviously it was this whole like Daily Bugle, whatever the Eddie Brock worked for type, fight, whatever. But let's see
Mhm.
something like Eddie is somehow embrace of this symbiote that came from space or whatever, and just a different take on that would be kind of neat.
And maybe instead of being like an actual physical photo taker for a paid newspaper,
Yeah,
maybe he's an influencer, like that. Not an influencer necessarily by that standards, but where he sells his pictures like we do with the paparazzi. Maybe he's more of a paparazzi kind of guy.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, because we see with these paparazzi folk that they live kind of a tough life. They're like camping outside of Brittany's house for
yeah,
a couple days,
yeah,
and so it wears them down. Like if we see him struggle that way, it would be interesting. And it's a
yeah.
lot more of a grittier character.
Or maybe someone that already has it all that doesn't have no struggle, right? But
Okay,
always has
yeah,
this desire for more. Maybe Eddie Brock
right.
has always been this massive like weightlifting guy back in the old Amazing Spider-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if he was just like Okay, so wonder if he was like this weightlifter still and wanted just power, but through brute strength. But then he doesn't have anything to get to the next level until he meets a symbiote, and now he's crushing buildings and stuff. And wonder if he
Yeah.
embraces that, like he embraces it, but like consciously, like if he was like the next Hulk in a way. I think
Oh,
that'd be
that's
pretty
cool.
neat. Yeah, I think I would like to see that.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Yeah,
neat. I
that'd
would
be
like
neat.
to see Doc Ock. I want to see more of a prosthetic storyline with him. Like he was trying to make prosthetics
Ooh.
for people, and it's all this because we kind of get that again with the video game movies
Yeah, yeah.
modernized. But like, oh, it's such a good idea, and like, oh, look, it's actually moving with you, something that prosthetics nowadays can't do.
Hmm.
And in doing that, he ends up creating, his arms that take over his mind, essentially.
Wonder if he gets so like hooked on it that he's trying to make this I kind of honestly like overwatching Cyberpunk. Like, wonder if he thinks the prosthetics are just more advanced and a better
Like
world, right?
a
If there
better
was
world,
more
yeah.
of it, that he's enhancing people on the side, so he becomes like the Cyberpunk. What do you call those? Like just the doctors in them. Maybe they're just called doctors in Cyberpunk
Yeah, I think
2077.
so. Like
Um,
slicers, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
something like that. But what if he becomes that? That'd be badass. I feel like, and then
that'd be
eventually
cool. Yeah.
he's fully prosthetic, where he doesn't have much of any human in him besides his conscience. Maybe
That's the thing
that
too about
addicted to it.
the Ultimate Universe is it's all supposed to be like modern but still realistic and fitting in. And so
Hmm.
with this idea that like yeah we could just make people like the prosthetics thing makes so much sense for today. And I think when you read old school Spider-Man, you're like it doesn't make much. It's like oh it helps me with construction sites. I can lift things heavier. It's like that's true, but it's
Yeah,
not as realistic to something we need. We don't
true.
need things. We have things better than that. Like I don't know. It would be interesting. Maybe he's working with like Boston Dynamics to make a new robot or
Hmm.
something like that. Would be
Hmm.
cool.
Hmm.
Um, Either way, the Ultimate Universe I think is a lot of fun, and again, it's the new take. If you guys this Wednesday head to your local comic book shop, you can pick up Ultimate Universe #1. It's got it's got Captain America, Thor, Doctor Doom, which that alone is cool, and Iron Man. I think that's Civ, all teaming up together to face some new threats, and it's just pretty neat.
And are these like Thor and Captain America? Are these the Thor and these Steve
Yes,
Rogers? Okay, okay.
it is the Thor, but the trick is it's the Thor, but it's a more modern like
Yeah, yeah,
2023 version of Thor is the key.
yeah. I like that. I like that because it's
Even
still
when you see
bringing
his
like like his I don't know homage to just a modern take. I like that. Yeah.
a lot of times people will take it as like oh it's a grittier. That's just because it's more modern. But if you look at the cover for
Hmm.
the Ultimate Universe, you'll see that Thor outfit. It's the Thor we recognize from
Yeah.
the Ultimate Universe,
Yeah.
where it's a lot more like battle suity. And
Hmm.
the Captain America that you see on the cover, it's like oh, okay, yeah, he's been through wars, which
Yeah.
makes sense
Yeah.
and stuff
Dope.
like that. And then like the Captain America is like okay, that's a guy who's making not just a hot rod, but in a suit that was going to survive fighting and stuff like that. So it's pretty
Nice.
dope. Yeah. All right, let's move on to our BlizzCon talk. Squeaks, we're going to BlizzCon, obviously, and we're
Ah.
super excited for it. Uh, what I want to know is what announcements are you hoping for? I think for myself, I want a new WoW expansion, and I want to hear that they learned a lot of things from Dragonflight, which I think is, or Dragon Isles, which I think is Dragonflight, which is
Hmm.
one of the best expansions they've ever done.
Yeah.
And I want to hear like we're gonna keep the flying, we're gonna keep the progression, we're gonna keep this and that, and moving forward. Because sometimes when a new expansion is announced, they go into like repair mode, and we don't need to do
Yeah.
that on this one.
Yeah.
I just want to hear like, hey, we're gonna be pirates now, but you're still gonna keep all this cool stuff that you like.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, right? To learn from something that's already was perfect, and got a lot of people back in. Like you got me into Dragonflight, and I had a really good time with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, what I would want to see is a reco. I know you said don't talk about recoveries, whatever, or you mentioned recoveries, but hey, we fucked up Overwatch, so let's fix it. And Overwatch is currently my favorite Blizzard game right now. It's
Yeah.
been probably for the longest time. Well, maybe when it actually first came out before World of Warcraft,
Mm-hmm.
before that was. Is that okay? You have the story, you brought the story out. Yeah, we had to pay for it. Fucking I did finally. So those missions, and so build that universe, right? And that's kind of what we wanted. So if you have to come out with more of those, I guess, I don't really want to keep paying for three missions, $15 for three missions, right?
Yeah,
That sucks,
that's
but I
too
get
high.
it though, because then now they made Overwatch 2 a free game. So is it now? Who knows? I don't know. Um, but to still develop that, because that's what was promised to us a while ago, right? Um, Other than that,
My
uh,
Overwatch dream announcement, honestly, is because as a primarily a tank. I'll heal often too. I rarely get the DPS, right?
Yeah,
But
right. Yeah.
primarily as a tank. If they want to make me happy, like there's so many things they could do, but one of them is say, hey, we're going to bring out multiple game modes. One of them is the old school 2 tank system
Oh,
because
okay. Okay.
that is so needed. Roadhog is a garbage character if he's your only tank, but he's
Yeah.
really fun if he's your off tank and he's next to a beefy Orisa or a beefy Reinhardt.
Right.
And
Right.
so I would like to see that come back.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think jump it up. But anyway, like basically a repair for Overwatch is what I want to see. I want to see
Mhm.
something that's like, okay, we learned that we messed this up, and this is what we're going to give you. Um. So, hopefully it's not gets too convoluted. A little bit of the shop is a little like that. To me, there's so many
Yeah.
sections. You're like, okay, what am I buying here? What's this or what's this? So it almost seems like skins are just now everywhere instead of because it is a free game now, so it does give that vibes for sure. Instead of like, oh, it's Halloween time, it's Christmas time, this is
You're so right.
it keeps it so much cleaner when it was that way. So,
I used to enjoy like seeing what the new Halloween skins are going to be,
oh
but
yeah,
now
for
it just
sure.
feels like it's so shop oriented that
Oh
it's like,
heck yeah,
man, this is just bogging the game down, the actual
definitely,
gameplay.
definitely a Fortnite feel when it comes to the shop
Yeah.
now. But anyway, besides the repair for Overwatch, definitely I put my WoW subscription on hold. But if I'm drop of a dime, I'm ready to get back into that as well.
Me and Daniel are playing
Um,
Classic right now. We're going
See, I
through
can't go back there. I can't go
Wrath.
back there.
Yeah.
I know he's talking to
You're
me
not
about a
gonna
lot of
bust
wrath
out
that
the
you're putting
old
in.
Volgrim days.
Oh man, R.I.P. So, um, but yeah, if it's definitely an enhancement from Dragonflight, that's amazing because Dragonflight was awesome, right? I
Yeah.
think what do you have your hopes for the most? What's your dream announcement?
So with World of Warcraft, I threw out the pirate thing, but I kind of want that because I think with Shadowlands, it was real high concept, right? Oh, we're gonna be dealing with death. We're warriors, we're hunters. Like, let's just have fun with it in
Okay.
Azeroth.
Yeah, yeah.
Even before that, with like the battle for Azeroth, it was kind of like, oh, we're gonna discover new worlds, and then everything's gonna be focused on these new worlds, and then we have this Azerite system, like literally the Earth is bleeding essentially, and we hate those were it was all too much. In
Yeah.
Dragonflight, it was
Okay.
real simple, like, oh, it's dragons, and we
Yeah,
found
yeah.
where the dragons come from. It's simple. So if it's the pirate expansion, or something like that, something equivalent to that. Maybe it's the dwarf expansion where it's like, oh, it's all about dwarves, and we learn about these different mining, like bring back the fantasy of the game, bring back
Yeah.
the old school storytelling, Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, because we don't need to deal with the balances of life and death or these gods that we'll never see and stuff like that. Like, I like to keep it grounded. I want to see something where we have to fight an actual threat, like a giant dragon flying around,
Yeah.
and or like some pirate king that's out there that says he's going to take over all of Azeroth. Like, yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
dope. Let's go fight him.
You
Player
keep
housing
referencing
too. If they
the
add player housing, would be huge.
Okay. You keep referencing the pirate thing. What's giving you to believe that? Because I feel like you've talked about this even before prior to this.
Well, there's so many different pirate things referenced in World of Warcraft, but not a
Mhm.
dedicated expansion yet. I know Battle for Azeroth there's even more of it, so they kind of were like, oh, that's it. But
Mhm.
I'm a Blood Cell Admiral, my warrior, stuff like that. Like, there's all kinds of things like that. Um, in the game, I mean, there's a mountain of lore for World of Warcraft, right? But in the game, there's also a lot of books. And lately they've
Mhm.
been hinting at this. I think his name was Squall. He went off on the west side of the map, which by the way is a side of the map we haven't explored at all.
Mhm.
He went off to the west side of the map, and his ideas of like there's like super misty over there, which we saw with Mr. Pandaria.
Mhm.
And so maybe he comes back with like a way to sail through the squalls and yeah, unlocks an entirely new area. It could be all pirate themed, it could be all treasure themed, it could be all like basically make it One Piece,
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
want.
That's dope.
And we always want player housing. It's something that World of Warcraft has been promising that they're working on, but it's very hard for them to do. And they said it's gonna be a multiple expansion project. The way, in my opinion, you start that is give us a ship. Let us totally
Mhm.
customize a ship in every situation. Could you imagine if you're in a dungeon and like things that are dropping are not just gear, but also, oh, I got a new pattern for a chair for my
That'd be dope as shit.
guard ship.
It'd be a little fun like it was. I mean, probably an enhancement to the garrisons that were being built because that was like, oh, cool. I got
Yeah,
new little spot now,
but
construction
they're
going
so
up, right?
limited. Yeah, the
So
garrisons were super
yeah,
limited. I actually want like movable stuff, and I think a
for
ship is
sure.
the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, we're gonna load that separately. It's something that could like load away from the game so that you
Mhm.
could really like move things around freely. And nowadays, when an MMO comes out, player housing is guaranteed. All of them have it now.
So what do you think of how your movements of this ship would be, right? Like you're not going to sail across the sea or whatever, but would you want that to be a thing instead of just like a load screen to the next area?
You would have to have ship battles. There would have to be a way to have
Okay,
ship
okay,
battles, and you're
okay.
upgrading your ship's guns, you're upgrading your ship's defenses, and
Yeah.
you can go on these like maybe there are side missions where you do like you raid fortresses, you raid other ships, like that would be incredible.
Yeah, okay, okay. I was talking about a whole different game right now. So,
I want Sea of Thieves. Give me some Sea of Thieves up in
okay,
there.
okay. Then maybe you can educate me on this one too. What's this whole Warcraft Rumble thing? I feel
That's a
like I'm
new
getting
app.
this.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
it's an
new
app.
app that's coming out. That's Warcraft themed, like Hearthstone was. I think it's
Okay.
kind of Clash of Clansy. So
Okay.
it's launching actually while we're at BlizzCon. So I'm sure they're going to be doing a lot of talk about it. I know they have a
Yeah.
segment at the end of day one dedicated to it.
Okay, so we'll probably get our hands on that, like we experienced with Diablo and Mortals back then. But
Yeah, and we're gonna get well. It's gonna be
yeah.
actually launching. So it'll be actually
Oh,
launching that
launching.
day.
Okay,
But because we're at BlizzCon, I have a feeling we're gonna get like a bunch of unlocks for it too. So it'll be cool.
that'd be sweet. Yeah. So when I read Rumble, right, I think of like a Brawlhalla type thing. So I didn't
Mhm.
think of like a Clash of Clans thing. So that would be kind of a bummer to me if it was
Yep.
Clash of Clans feel. I'd much rather have like a Brawlhalla where I'm playing as, I don't know, Thrall versus fucking Tracer or something, right? And we're
That
just
would be
like
amazing. A
on
classic
this little like
fighting,
Smash
2D
Bros
fighting.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So that'd be cool.
That'd be awesome.
Um, I think if anything though from BlizzCon, what's needed is a, I don't know, something to revive Diablo maybe. But I don't want to feel like I know we talk and I know we kind of feel the same way with Diablo 4. And I try to play more Diablo 4 because I really just do enjoy Diablo, especially when Diablo 3
And
was
Diablo
there.
4, I think, was a well-made game in my opinion. Yeah.
For sure. And I have no problem with it, but it didn't suck me in like 3. And I
Yeah.
think changing the map and how it was just like one thing didn't really, like, scenery never changed for me that much. I mean, yeah, you got a forest and yeah, you got the sand, but it wasn't like very long in those areas. I didn't really have
I
to
see.
spend too much
Okay.
time there. Um, what I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot in this one. What in Diablo do you feel can be released for it, Diablo 4? And I don't know, like to pull you back in.
I
What
think
can
we
it
need to
be?
have a clear progression system that's not tied to seasons. And keep the
Okay.
seasonal thing for sure, but we all paid good money for that game. We don't need seasons like we do in Fortnite or whatever,
Hmm.
or Overwatch to be more accurate for this.
Yeah.
Um, let's have a non-seasonal progression system where people have something to grind out and carry through in the future. I know that seasonal stuff is actually more Diablo than it is anything else. They've done it a lot in the past with new characters and stuff like that. But I also want to be able to show my progress in the game in a really cool way, and I think that'd be
Yeah.
neat. And then show a dedicated release path. They've done it with World of Warcraft recently, and it's been wildly successful. They're like,
Hmm.
hey, on this day, this expansion or this not expansion, but this patch is coming out, and it's going to unlock a new territory and new this and new that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
It's
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah.
If they came out and say like, hey, we're going to be coming out with these patches that will release new territory, and you know what? On this day, we're getting a new class coming out. You get to play as the whatever monk or whatever. That is how you get people
Okay.
talking Diablo again.
So now, do you feel that Blizzard needs to kind of turn all their games into a way like World of Warcraft, where it's more expansion but the same game? So you're saying like Diablo, if you're going to come out with expansions, why have a Diablo 5? I'd have Diablo 6.
Right.
Overwatch is kind of doing that way too now. It's weird because it's called Overwatch 2,
Mhm.
but technically it's just Overwatch. So do you feel like maybe that is a trend that they might not be trying to do, but they are going to do in a way?
So it's funny because it's an old school trend, right? If you think of like the Elder Scrolls games always had expansions to them and stuff like that. Fallout games had
Hmm.
expansions to them.
Hmm.
We talked about this on the podcast after IGN wrote a whole article about this, but they're doing what's called half sequels and expansions more now because a AAA title now takes about 10 years to make. So Spider-Man 1 came out,
Damn.
and then they came out with Miles Morales using the exact same graphics, exact same everything, but they just
Almost
changed the
everything. Yeah.
story, changed right. But I mean, like the bones of the game, the skeleton for Spider-Man, he moved a little bit differently, but it was still the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was considered a half sequel. And it's basically like we're gonna put this out while the main team is still working on Spider-Man 2. And so I think expansions are coming back. And a Diablo like legit expansion, like they did with Diablo 3, would be really smart. And I think
Okay.
Overwatch making it clear that hey, we're adding in like substantially new stuff for your money would be really
Yeah.
nice. Then I
Yeah.
don't mind if you're going to add good stuff. Then I don't mind spending money on it. But when it feels like you're just wasting everybody's time, it's upsetting.
Yeah, for sure. What about new IP? We're gonna get one, or is it basically gonna be
I
the
tell you what,
Warcraft Rumble?
we do have a new IP on the way. I think the most important thing, so we have a new IP coming up. It's a survival game. They hinted at it at the last BlizzCon. It would
Survival
be
game.
nice to actually see some gameplay from this, so we know, because Blizzard's known for their polish. Let's see what a polished survival game looks like. I think that would be pretty neat. Yeah.
Interesting. What would that? Oh man, new. That's a whole new thing, huh? Are they gonna bleed into other characters that they created before, kind of like a Heroes of the Storm
It's
and like a
a
Rumble?
completely new story,
Okay.
completely new IP all the way through. We've only gotten some concept art for it, so let's see some progress on this and see.
Oh
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah.
So survival, we talking like arc style? We talking? What do you think? Close
It
to.
sounds like it's Arc style, and it sounds like there's like these doorway portals that lead to other worlds. From if
Mm,
I remember correctly, yeah. And
man,
so it,
that's
it could be something like, if they announce something like that, could you imagine how much that's going to take over BlizzCon? A whole
right.
new, like
Yeah.
like when Overwatch was announced. I remember I was there when Overwatch was announced. It
hmm
was like, what is this? Holy
Yeah.
cow! It's not
Yeah.
World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Ah, shoot. Hopes of this, right? Because it's been so long. StarCraft
Yes.
3 teaser. Anything?
If they just put up in Times New Roman on a black background with white font, StarCraft 3, I mean, the room will lose their shit.
Yeah.
2011 is the last time StarCraft came out.
Ah, man,
And
so
it's,
crazy.
I mean, talk about a pillar of Blizzard. It's one of the three main games that keeps those doors open.
Yeah.
And the esports scene is still huge for that. South Korea, basically, part of
Yeah.
their economy is StarCraft.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But even if it's not a StarCraft 3, let me get into that world a little more, even into like a first person like an Overwatch. Like let me fight some Zergs as a space marine, you know? Like, right? Is that what they're called? I know I'm
Space
thinking
Marines.
Warhammer.
Oh, no,
Okay.
that's
That's
Warhammer.
Warhammer, yeah.
Actually, you're right. You're right. You're
Whatever,
right.
whatever, you know. But damn, like give me something more in that universe.
It would be, even if they, I mean, this would be such a wish list move, but like Nova, we had the leaked Nova stuff from the
Oh
attempted
yeah,
first person
yeah.
shooter. If they say like, hey, we're gonna just remaster our
Oh.
old files, it won't look great, but it'll be just, a new way to get in there where you're actually like shooting Zergs from third
Oh,
person.
so hot, yeah.
Dope. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
But a full on new StarCraft would be outstanding. And they kind of started doing it towards the tail end of StarCraft 2's lifespan, which is still technically active, but um, hey, if you guys like those battle passes, let us get skins for the different armies. Like, how
hmm
easy would that be for a Halloween themed? And all of a sudden you got like pumpkin and like skeleton zerglings instead of regular zerglings and stuff like that.
hmm
Like,
hmm
it's just a no brainer. We know money drives everything. That's an easy one. Um, I think that would be really good. The other thing too is let's talk about what Xbox's impact is going to be on the company.
Man, I feel like that's gonna be huge during those opening. I mean, that's the elephant in the room, right? Like,
That's exactly right. Right. If they don't
so
mention it, people are going to be having asked questions. So you might as well
yeah,
mention it.
right. It has to be talked about. So, I'm curious to see of not so much of what Xbox and Blizzard can bring to us as customers, but what the future of Blizzard looks like. I've said it
Yeah.
before, where um, Blizzard to me was this. I don't know, just such an icon. And even seeing just the logo of Blizzard on any game I've launched before was it just
Yeah.
felt this presence was amazing. Now, over the years with this Activision thing and now this Xbox thing, it's a little diluted to me now. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
not fully there anymore. It feels like it's just we're just dragging Blizzard around type of thing when Blizzard was this insane establishment before.
Yeah.
So make me not feel that way anymore. That's what I would like to see with the Xbox. And like I said, I don't need to be fed with a bunch of fucking shit like coming to you thing, which will be great, obviously, right? If we're paying for Game Pass and it's paying for my WoW expansion at the same time,
That want that so
right?
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I'm like, shit. Now I'm back to buying the PC Game Pass now because I do
Yeah.
have the console one, just not the PC one
Mhm.
anymore. So I'm back to that. But I want to know as the future of the company itself, not just things that they can give me. And that's more on my business side, I guess you could say, coming out where it's like I want to know what Blizzard will look like in the next 5 years with the Xbox.
Yeah, because if we look at so I think with Rare, they've done a really good job of keeping Rare
See, I
feeling like
don't
Rare.
think so. I
You
don't
don't,
think so
what don't you think about that?
because the
Why
only
not?
thing that really brought up Rare was fucking
Sea of
Sea of
Thieves.
Thieves. Banjo Kazooie, I felt like has been ruined. Like that doesn't feel the same. Oh well, when I played Banjo Kazooie recently on Game Pass, it's the very
Yeah.
first like 64 one. I don't feel
Yeah.
like they've done shit with Rare besides Sea of Thieves. It could be wrong. You have Perfect Dark, right? Let me get some of that.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
Perfect
know.
Dark's in the works. They're developing it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So many years later,
But
where's
right, right. My thing, okay, so when I look at Rare and I look at what Blizzard does,
Mhm.
Sea of Thieves is very much the same model of you look at like Overwatch or even
Most
World of
definitely.
Warcraft, this
Yeah.
continuous game and stuff like that, and you look at what they let Sea of Thieves do, combined with other, like we brought in Pirates of the Caribbean, we brought in
Yeah.
actual other IPs, and they didn't feel like they were saturated or selling out to it. They were like, oh no, Pirates of the Caribbean is just part of this world for a little bit. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And I think they were like allowed to put out really good quality content and not ask for a lot more money, if any. And if World of Warcraft, I'm sorry, if Microsoft is like, look, we know that World of Warcraft can be this core game that just keeps people around us, and we don't need to like just milk it for cash. That feels good.
Yeah.
And like even for Overwatch, like they're not worried about Overwatch to bring in the shooter fans. They have both Halo and now Call of Duty. They
Yeah.
don't need to
Yeah.
be the FPS bros with that. So
Yeah.
instead, just make it this like stalwart game that people come around Microsoft for. And
Yeah.
I think that would be, if they kind of show that Blizzard can be that, which is what Blizzard was about in the beginning. Like, we're not going to try to milk you for everything. We're just going to polish the hell out of games and make
Yeah.
communities. And if Microsoft recognizes that and embraces that as part of their community now, oh my God, I'd be happy.
Yeah. And I feel like it's the Blizzard now has almost unlimited resources, right? I mean, with Xboxes, how they're gigantic
Basically, yeah.
money, right? The whatever they have. Now
Mhm.
I feel like they can go to the next step. Now it's like, why not bring this the ghost first person alive?
Yeah.
Because why not team up with whatever the Blizzard's original team, vision, whatever was for that game, team up with Halo, right?
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
would
you
be smart.
got the what was it? The Flood, right? Can be very similar to the Zerg, but mix the
Yeah.
ideas together.
They brought back Dave Metzen, which is the original voice for Thrall, and he is one of the original voices that put together World of Warcraft. He
Yeah.
recently came back onto the studios to help out. I think it was like a year ago, maybe. So what's he working on? What's he up to over there? Let's
Yeah.
hear what's going on. Do we want to see a version of World of Warcraft that's console friendly? What does that unlock for the Xbox? Stuff like that would
Yeah.
be. It's like, why not try it? I mean, shit, back in the N64 days, I don't know if you've ever played it this way, but I sure did. StarCraft was on the N64. And
Yeah.
it was
Damn.
it was fun. It was a blast. It definitely wasn't as hardcore
Yeah.
as the PC version, but it was fun. And I think
I
that's
mean,
something we can
nowadays you
get.
could even. I mean, it might be. Who knows how it'll be like on a controller or whatnot. Maybe it's required of an elite controller, right? Added a couple buttons to it, so that might be a thing you have to buy for if you're playing World of Warcraft on the Xbox. But you could plug in a keyboard and a mouse, right, into the Xbox.
You can. And
So
just like with Overwatch, like you could turn on playing with other console players or playing with PC players. Because if
yeah,
you play with a PC player, I don't think you have a chance. But if you play with
yeah,
other console players, it makes it much more of like a. Could you imagine if instead of a swing timer, you actually press swing for a
hmm
warrior? Or
hmm
that would make it feel more RPG, but you have all of Azeroth to explore now.
yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you can make a classic RPG feel like, if you take like a Bethesda style RPG, put it in Azeroth, all you have
yeah.
to do is basically take the classes we already have now and just kind of make it feel more console friendly. I think that would be a
Yeah.
really big slam dunk.
Hopefully, though, if we're not doing like World of Warcraft, we're doing the consoles team up, that it doesn't take
Yeah.
away from like what the potential can be though when someone's playing on a computer. Um,
I think
maybe
keeping
like
them separate. I think they've done a really good job with Overwatch with that, keeping them separate so that they're like, look, I don't want to smoke these kids that are on their Xboxes all day.
yeah, but I am able to play Overwatch with Xbox players though. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering like
Yeah, yeah,
world
yeah.
load times lagging or maybe messing up a little bit, whatever. I don't know. Yeah,
And cloud gaming's effect on Blizzard will be interesting too, because now we have that access. So
yeah. So
I
thoughts
think it'll
on
go.
Phil Spencer being at BlizzCon? I think he has to be. He was just
I
at Blizzard recently,
Yeah, they're doing a
meeting with
little like
them and whatnot.
party for
So
the employee side of things. Yeah.
how do you not show up with this, like I said, elephant in the room? Uh, like the first BlizzCon in how many years? You're trying to make it the massive,
Yeah.
massive. Phil Spencer shows up and talks about Xbox and Blizzard.
If I'm being honest, like I hate to be this shill, but I've always been an Xbox boy. I even have a
Hmm.
PS5 and I'm still an Xbox fan.
Yeah,
I like Phil Spencer an awful lot, if I'm being
yeah.
honest.
So I'm
For
gonna have
being
to
an
bring.
executive.
We're packing
So
extra underwear for you if he's showing up. Yeah. So
let me talk to Phil.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But I
would
think
be
so, right?
very excited to see him. Yeah.
Who else to talk about the future of Xbox with Blizzard than Phil Spencer, right? We got to get
Yeah, Phil
Xbox
Spencer,
side, and
Major
we got to
Nelson
get
maybe would be
Blizzard
big
side.
up there.
You know,
But yeah. But if you had up on stage Phil Spencer and David Metzen talking about the future of like
fucking crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
And if we could get those damn media passes to go through, which on the 31st we might be hearing from that,
Oh
then
shit.
we're
Okay.
right there in front row. So that
Yeah.
would be
Damn.
dope. Yeah.
So yeah, because that would really like I was saying, my skeptical of me being with the future of Blizzard and whatnot because of all this will and dealing that's been going on the past couple of years. If I could see them too on stage saying like, "Hey, we're essentially a team. Future looks bright. We're ready to work together." I think that would skyrocket for me. That would be like that's what I want to hear.
If I hear from Phil Spencer that we want to keep Blizzard, like that saying right there would make me just so happy because Bobby Kotick showed up to BlizzCon a couple years back and was like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna give away a Call of Duty to all you guys." That motherfucker got booed off out of Anaheim. People hated seeing him. But if Phil Spencer's like, "We're not gonna make you guys, just a cash flow thing for Activision. That's not what you are anymore. You are Blizzard." God, that would make me so.
And I think
happy.
he's good at speaking in those terms of like this
he's a gamer.
bright future, bright future, and not like what you're saying. We're going to give away free things like the Call of Duty episode.
I don't care about that.
The warm fuzzies. That's what I want. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing beats that, and that's what the community that we all spent $300 a ticket to get in that place. We are fans, so. Yeah. By the way, say next year we're gonna bring BlizzCon tickets back down to 200, please. That would be nice.
That'd be a good start. Oh shit,
we're
such fans that it didn't give a shit. We didn't even look at. We didn't. At least for me, because of this wonderful experience I had at the last one. Dude, I don't care about the price. I just made sure that I was able to click to make sure like I was able to check out. So.
There's nothing else that can go up $100, but yeah, all of us were like, okay, so. I mean,
we're there.
It was almost an afterthought. I was like, "Oh wait, this is $100 more than normal." Okay, whatever. It's BlizzCon. Like, I know.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Huh?
Shout out to Thomas who got my ticket, and I was like, I totally forgot to pay him. So I'm like, I'll have him. So I got to pay him one more day.
He's probably letting you know each day. Yeah, about that ticket though.
He's like, "Damn fucking Frank," when I see him. Yeah. So, and it's Thomas's first BlizzCon. He's like, "Oh, I played Diablo." So I'm like, "Get on some Overwatch with me. Let me show you what Overwatch is all about." I think that's a good for him.
I'm so excited for Worlds. I'm catching up on the group stages right now and waiting for the USA to get going. Portugal not in. Fucking, we need to be in that Portugal team, bro.
If I'm being honest, we're better than the Portugal team. When you and me play together, honestly, we lock it down pretty good.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Send us those invites, Portugal. Come on, whoever you are. Not even make it to the Worlds. Fucking A.
That's pathetic. As for the media passes, just a heads up on that. So the media pass submission deadline is today, and it sounds like some people, like if we're not IGN essentially, they find out like right beforehand, which is unfortunate because then we get free tickets. What do we do with the ones we had paid for? Stuff like that. We'll figure it out. But I'm not saying we have media passes yet, but obviously BlizzCon is the nut we've always wanted to crack. Like I appreciated E3, but you're not my BlizzCon.
You kind of felt us too. So
E3 is a hot mess.
Yeah.
And then next year or next month we have LA Comic-Con, ideally going to that too. So looking forward to that as well. But it's all BlizzCon all the time right
now. So we may potentially hear something about that tomorrow.
Potentially, yeah. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, it is what it is. I know that there's a lot of people vying for it, and this is the tightest convention possibly to get into as a media, but still, I mean, we definitely overqualified in my opinion.
Even if I take the hit on the $300 for the last one, don't sell it. I still want to sit up in front. So I think that'd be like, oh, what do you talk about media pass? I won't even tell Sarah about it.
Honestly, I hate to be so vain, but all I want is that little media pass I can put around my neck because I worked hard for it.
Let people know you're better than that. Yeah, I know you have for sure. So it's like,
but like in 2017, when I was there and I saw like they had those open spots for the media in the front, I'm like, we should start something. I mentioned that to Derek at the time. We should start something and like someday get to here and like to be this far in the future, but like get the media passes. Like, fucking A, man, we locked it down. It took everything. But
not to sound corny, but I would be happy for you, most out of everyone, to have you sit up in front. So
but I agree with you. We'll see.
Chill.
All right, guys. So over the next week, you're going to be getting extra episodes of Geek Freaks, but they're all going to be BlizzCon oriented. After that, we'll get back to the Marvel and whatnot that we always talk about. But make sure you hang out with us. We're going to be posting everything on TikTok, Instagram, and all those fun places. So come join us over there. All right, guys, that's it for us this week, and we'll see you around. Bye.
Bye.